Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Drew and you're once again watching Drew the Theme Park Dude. Today's video I finally answer the long-awaited question, is Tiana's Bayou Adventure better than Splash Mountain? Before I begin with me live, hit that subscribe button as well as the like button to support the channel. Now, off to the video. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is Magic Kingdom's newest ride that opened earlier this summer inside Frontierland. This attraction features multiple advanced audio animatronics, fun songs, and overall an enjoyable ride experience. This ride was a re-theme replacing the iconic Splash Mountain attraction, which is beloved by millions who visited the park. I've been on both attractions many times, but I definitely have more familiarity with Splash because of Tiana's being so new. In terms of the actual ride, they are identical. No layout changes were made during the re-theme from Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now to get this out of the way, Splash Mountain was my favorite ride inside Magic Kingdom while it was operational. I grew up going to the parks very frequently and always ended my day with a ride on Splash Mountain. So when Disney announced in 2020 that it would be permanently closing, I was definitely hesitant to the replacement being a worthy successor to this beloved classic Disney attraction. But after riding Tiana's Bayou Adventure many and many times, the ride still offers a fun experience families and guests will all love and enjoy. I was never one of the save Splash Mountain type of people and accepted that it was going to be replaced. Although hesitant, I was excited to see a new updated re-theme of the ride was coming. Since this ride is in Frontierland though, I would have much preferred an original story/theme, but they sort of made Tiana's work, despite the film taking place in New Orleans. They turned the iconic mountain into a salt dome that Tiana's family owns, and founded her own food company named, very creatively, Tiana's Foods. It's definitely a unique concept that unless you do some research, it is kind of hard to understand, and there were guests that were asking team members around the attraction what restaurant was inside and how they could get a reservation, because there's a big sign on the queue building that says Tiana's Foods, which is kind of funny to me. But yeah, it is a unique concept, but it is also a very confusing story for this ride. Splash Mountain had a much more clear story that all guests could follow. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is more of just a journey through the bayou, seeing familiar characters before dropping 50 feet at the end. The reason you're given for dropping 50 feet is a shortcut to Tiana and Naveen's party, while on Splash Mountain it was to escape Bear Fox, a much more reasonable reason to drop 50 feet. The rest of Tiana's Bayou Adventure story is basically trying to find critters to play for Tiana's party, but you find them within the first minute of entering the show building, so the rest of the ride is kind of just a journey through the bayou with some music playing in the background. Also, for some reason Mama Odie shrinks you to the size of a frog about halfway through the ride. As for the animatronics, like I mentioned, Tiana's Bayou Adventure has some incredible figures throughout the ride. If they are working, this ride has some of the best animatronics on any attraction in Central Florida. They look so real and lifelike. Splash Mountain's animatronics definitely had its issues towards the end of the attraction's life, with some malfunctioning or not working at all. I can definitely say Tiana's Bayou Adventure has the superior animatronics, and as for set pieces, both rides do an excellent job of immersing you into each of their worlds. With Splash Mountain, there was really no dull moment on the attraction. There's always something to look at, a big set, a big collection of animatronics, either on your left, on your right, in front of you, behind you even. On Tiana's Bayou Adventure, there's a lot of dull moments. Like when you go down like where the former laughing place was, there's still a lot of open areas, there's not a ton of things filling in, and some of the animatronic placements are kind of back behind stuff, which is kind of interesting to me, so it makes it kind of hard to see at some points. Now, as for some of my issues with Splash Mountain, even though it was my favorite ride of Magic Kingdom, I do acknowledge that it was definitely outdated in terms of storyline, in terms of animatronics, and just overall, it definitely fell down in the end of its lifespan, especially when you got these new big rides opening with these really great animatronics like Rise of Resistance. It kind of fell behind. Splash Mountain, it was a fun ride. I mean, the songs on it are iconic. Zippity Doo Dah, Zippity Day still plays on the monorail and bus loop at Magic Kingdom, so keep notice to that. It's just the songs in it are so iconic. The characters in the ride are so iconic, and they just disappeared from the resort altogether in 2020, which I understand why, but they just completely disappeared. No merchandise, nothing. And the only way to ride the ride right now is if you go to Tokyo Disneyland, because they refused the Tiana's Bayou Adventure re-theme. Now, do I think Tiana's was a great fit for Splash Mountain? No, I don't. I really love the film Princess and the Frog, and I love the characters, love the story, love the music, but I really think it would have done much better in a different area of the park. I don't know really exactly where. I might do a future video where I say, where I would have put this, but I would have done a retelling of the original film in a nice boat ride similar to Navi River Journey of Animal Kingdom. That would have been perfect. And it could even have a drop on it if you wanted to add some like little thrill level, kind of like Pirates Drop, where it's a big story ride, almost basically like a Fantasyland Dark ride, but it has bigger sets and has more animatronics, and it also has a drop about halfway through the ride. So I think if you did that with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but made it more of a Princess and the Frog retelling, that would be absolutely perfect. And I really think that would have been a great addition to the Magic Kingdom. Now, with what we did get at Magic Kingdom, I still think it is a solid fit because there really isn't a ton of stuff you can do with that space to have an IP there, because there really isn't that many Frontier big IPs. I mean, people were saying Home on the Range, people were saying Emperor's New Groove, both box office bombs, so they're not going to do that, and they're also not really relevant in today's world. Princess and the Frog has been able to stay relevant ever since it released. Splash Mountain, on the other hand, the IP it's based upon is not relevant at all, and Disney locks away the movie it was based on, and you can't even watch it if you look it up. So, that's something. It's not even on Disney Plus. That's a good way to put it. So I do know why they wanted to retheme the attraction, and I think Prince and the Frog does work in the sense that now if the story worked. The IP didn't work, but the story that they gave it, and how Tiana left the Bayou and left New Orleans for a little bit to go create her food company, and this is the Salt Dome, and then now you have to go back to the Bayou to find some critters, and I just think it's kind of cool. I mean, it works, and at night, this attraction blows Splash Mountain out of the water, especially the facade. It is absolutely gorgeous with the purple lighting, the water, just the effects, everything. It's just absolutely amazing. This is something that you have to see at night. It is such a great experience. Now, to finally answer the long-awaited question if Tiana's Bayou Adventure is better than Splash Mountain, well, I have to say it's very hard to directly compare them. I've been trying to this whole video, as you guys can tell, but the ride itself is exactly the same as before, as I still love the ride regardless of the theme. Now, if you look at the shell of the attraction, both Splash Mountain and Tiana's Bayou Adventure have fun animatronics and set pieces that immerse the rider into the world they are a part of. Tiana's Bayou Adventure suffers from a lackluster story, but exceeds when looking at the animatronics and immersive environments. Splash Mountain suffered from being outdated and the IP not being relevant, but succeeded in a storytelling and an incredible soundtrack. If I could only pick one ride, I would have to go with, drumroll please, dun 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 dun, Splash Mountain. But before you go in the comments and go after me, I'm sure if you ask me a decade from now or even a couple years from now, Tiana's Bayou Adventure will surely fit. It's so hard to pick one as both are world-class attractions that millions adored. As much as I enjoy Tiana's, and I'm sure I will enjoy it more and more over time, the long ride time needs an interesting story, which really is the main factor for me preferring Splash Mountain. There's just so much of the ride. There's just, a solid 3 or 4 minutes of the 7-minute ride where there's really nothing around you, and it's just the music, which is great, but you do feel immersed in the bayou, but there's no animatronics. It's just grass and maybe firefly projections. There's just a lot of dull moments, and even the lift hill before the very top where you see the Mama Odie animatronic off to the left, there's just nothing there. At least on Splash Mountain there was a big suspenseful moment. On this, it's treated as like a giant party that you're dropping 50 feet, which just doesn't really make sense with the story. But, like I said, as much as I enjoy Tiana's, it suffers from a lackluster story, but I still recommend everyone gives Tiana's Bayou Adventure a try, and you ride it the next time you visit Magic Kingdom. Thank you so much for reaching the end of this video, and if you enjoyed, please remember to leave a massive like on the video and subscribe for future theme park content. I know this video took a while to get out, and I've taken a little break from YouTube. That was because my computer broke. Comment down below your thoughts on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and thanks again for watching, and have a great rest of your day, everyone. See ya. Bye.